Final handshake, and it's Ding Junhui with the honour in frame number 10 of a possible 19. Fergal O'Brien alongside me for the finale. It's been a great week, Fergal. We've had high drama, we've had bags of breaks, and we could be in for a thrilling climax.
Thank you, Philip. Yeah, beautifully poised. Fascinating to see how it unfolds. Ding was the favourite at the start of the match, probably more so now, leading from being 4-1 down. But he hasn't won in 5 years, so he has his own challenges to overcome himself. That's for Chris, important during that break. He forgot the mistakes he made, knows he probably could and should have had a lead, but there's only one frame in it. It's the opportunity of a lifetime, so just give it everything.
One of the challenges for Wakelin in this final was to regroup after the emotional roller coaster what was the semi-final against Xiao Guodong, when of course he led 8-5 at one stage and looked as though he may have missed his chance. Got very edgy, but regrouped in the final frame when it mattered, just as he did against John Higgins. Very grateful, as he pointed out, to have the day off yesterday just to get those emotions back on something approaching an even keel ahead of this, the biggest match of his life. And he certainly competed very well. He was arguably the better player in the first session, even though he's a frame behind. So he can make a good start this evening. Stay with Ding, that's the key. Not allow Ding to build a big lead then. Who knows?
Apart from having the challenge of beating one of the all-time greats like Ding to try and win his first ranking event, also the crowd involvement and impact is something else you have to overcome. Could be noisy. He knows the crowd very much wants Ding to win. Can't let that affect him. As best he can, to stay in his own little bubble. Just get engrossed playing the game.
It's only their third meeting, and Wakelin will hope to repeat the heroics of their second just a few weeks ago at the Wuhan Open, when he made 3 total clearances and beat Ding 5-3. A rather different occasion this evening, though. That was a 4th round match. This is for the title. He's already picked up his biggest paycheck in getting to the final, £75,000. Of course, he's a former shootout winner, but this would be something altogether bigger for Wakelin. And for Ding, just as hungry for the title for different reasons, as Fergal mentioned, without a ranking event title since his 3rd UK Championship in 2019. He's been runner-up at the UK for the last 2 seasons. Also made the World Open final last season, where he lost heavily to Trump in the title match in Yushan. So he's come close, but at this stage of his career, coming close is not sufficient. He wants another big title.
felt it was worth the risk. Safety wasn't easy. Brought the white over to that right-hand side. Knew he was leaving Chris a pot, but it wasn't going to be an easy pot. But both of them have had a few shots now, so should be a bit more settled.
Bit of a stretch, and mindful of that red close to the baulk cushion, but he's well clear of it actually. Cued that very nicely. Made breaks of 63, 92, 85 and 64 in the first session.
Seven. Eight.
He's become very strong in all departments, Chris. But I think the big improvement last season or two has been in the scoring a lot heavier, more consistent, not necessarily even centuries,
40.
just frame winning breaks. He did that today. Won't want to continue in the habit of losing the close frames, because you feel definitely will be some close tight frames tonight.
Well, the body language as soon as he hit that suggested he wasn't happy. I don't know whether he was slightly put off by some movement or some noise, but
Yeah, I think the last frame today, when he missed the last red, he seemed to get up. He was gesturing as if the crowd had put him off slightly. And again, if it happened this afternoon, it could happen a lot tonight. Can't let that affect him.
it's a thinnish cutback from mid-range into the yellow pocket. It cost him the frame. And he was in control of the frame before that. He was well in front, 40 odds to the good, but couldn't quite finish it off. And that one is just high. So the break ends disappointingly early for Wakelin.
Ding, weighing up his options. I think he just went over to the right-hand side there to see where he'd like to be. With playing the black. Can't take this red for granted, but you feel with the black there, great chance to go into the pack if he wanted. Elected to play on the blue. I think he's just enough of an angle. Stunned down for that loose red. also putting this frees the black spot.
6.
Tricky little red, but could be key to the frame with that black waiting there.
Coolly done.
Yeah, it just came off the pack at the wrong angle. Nearly like a wall that led him towards the left corner. A bit disappointed. Feel sure going into the pack of pace, he'd be left on a red or maybe even choice of reds. But it looks like he's going to be tempted with this red to right middle.
Tremendous recovery, and the crowd showing their appreciation. It would be a big deal for Ding to win tonight in more ways than one. That 5-year hiatus since he won a ranking event, but to win it on home turf as well in front of his fans. He's not won here in a ranking event final for 7 years. That was the World Open. It would make the win, I'm sure, extra special for him. And of course, this is about the time of year where Ding, regardless of form, starts to show his best. He's had such a great record at the UK Championship down the years. 3 times a winner, finalist the last 2 seasons. So it would be the perfect tonic to arrive at the York Barbican with this trophy under his arm.
He takes some stopping there as well. Great record there in York. For a few years now, Ding has played a selected small schedule at the start of the season.
25.
It's this time of year you feel he's trying to peak for
26.
He'd only won 3 matches in ranking events this season coming into this tournament, all 3 of which were in Wuhan. He was nowhere on the 1-year list. He's propelled himself into the top 10 just by getting to the final. Of course, that has implications for the Players Series events from next spring. Controlled cannon, but it could clearly have worked out better for him.
31.
The reds are split nicely, but he's not on one. A plant. Wow, he was on one. That's a bit of luck.
Yeah, massive piece of luck, you would have to say. You see by his reaction when he into the cluster, looked to the heavens, frustrated.
And what a chance now as a result of that plant to move 2 clear with his 5th consecutive frame.
37.
Again, with his immaculate cue ball control, you just can't see any reason why he won't win this frame. felt at the start of tonight's session, more important for Chris
45.
to start well.
$46.
And he did have the chance. He knocked in a good red, Wakelin, into the right corner, but then missed the black into the same pocket.
$53. $54.
Crowd, as ever,
61.
very alive to the situation. Wakelin needs a snooker, but he's not going to get the chance.
62.
And yes, there was a bit of fortune in inadvertently setting up a plant to keep this break going. But it was a brilliant red initially from Ding into the centre pocket when it looked like the break might be over early, that helped him
66.
to make what is surely a frame-winning contribution.
Junhui 66.
Chris Wakelin remains in his chair. More frustration for him. He had a chance, he couldn't make the most of it, and Ding has stepped in with his 5th frame in a row to lead 6-4. A break of 66, Ding Junhui's 4th half-century of this final, to put himself 6-4 in front, having won 5 in a row.
Fortunate there, Chris. Caught that break way too thick. As a result, the red came up to the balk end, but covered it with brown. And as a result, that red come up. Ding's in a little bit of trouble here. Just taking time out to think. Keep trying to roll up to the pack. There was a red slightly loose to the right of it. Also, to roll up on the reds close to the black, very easy to slide by them and leave a red on. So Chris's bad break could work to his advantage. I think he can still come off the side cushion and lay into the pack and basically try and lie on the red that is loosest to the right. Chances are he wouldn't leave a red. He knows it could go wrong, but probably the best percentage shot. Couldn't have played it much better. Possible already we get a re-rack because neither player's going to be keen playing a safe shot to balk end with that red up there. touching ball. If it is, might gamble.
Touch him.
Ji Yixin has confirmed it is touching the red closest to the pink. Wakelin just needs something to re-establish himself now in this final. He was bossing things at 4-1. Has had chances since then, but now finds himself 2 adrift. If he falls 3 behind, although it's not terminal to his chances, it will be a long road back from there, Ding with all the momentum at the moment. Of course, there is that bit more wiggle room now in a first to 10. Bonus for whoever wins this match, of course, is a guaranteed spot in the Champion of Champions in Bolton next week. Whoever does win would play Judd Trump on Wednesday. And you get a minimum £12,500 just for showing up at that event. So just indicates the doors that are opening, particularly for Wakelin, both in terms of the finances and the ranking points, as he narrowly misses that red.
Ding backed himself to get a cover with the green and the red, which he didn't get. Yeah, Ding came down to have a look at that, see what is a possible plant. Always looked likely that he wouldn't be able to catch it, to pot it. And trying to do it brought the white way down the table. Poor shot, you'd have to say. It's very much a shot to nothing, rather than having a speculative attempt at it. Seemed to go full-blooded for it, but it could cost him.
Hey.
Wakelin appearing in just his 3rd ranking final.
Man.
He made the Northern Ireland Open showpiece last season, lost heavily to Trump, 9-3. And of course, won the shootout 2 seasons ago, making a century to do so. The highest break of the tournament. It was a great moment for him, but this would be even greater if he can turn this around. But not thrilled with the cannon. That's left him much further away from his next red than he would have liked, so there's pressure on this. And he's just pushed it to the far jaw, and he's left it for Ding.
14.
Not happening at the moment for Wakelin.
Yeah, worrying times. Such a good opportunity to only make 14. It's the kind of opportunity this week he's been clinical at. And just compounded by leaving Ding such an easy starter. And he might still be feeling good and confident, crisp. But this could still slip away from him quite quickly. Next couple of frames, very important.
The frustration will be that he's not being blown away by a barrage of breaks by Ding. He's had a number of chances in several of the frames he's lost, including the last 3 in a row. And again at the start of this one. Looks like that little rub has worked out well for Ding.
Four.
It all started for him 19 years ago here in China when, as a wild card, still only 18, he defeated Stephen Hendry for his first ranking title. Hoping to land his 15th tonight.
Eleven. 12.
Beautiful shot there from Ding. See the delayed reaction with the backspin to work back through the pack. Again, without taking anything for granted. With his cue ball control, it's hard to see him making a mistake. Cue ball travels shortest possible distance. Always seems to have the right angle on the next ball and playing it from very close. With a possible exception of Ronnie, and amongst them his cue ball control is the best.
20. It's
been noticeable this week with Ding at certain times during a break. Prepared to take an extra couple of seconds just to plot a plan, have it clear in his mind.
28.
Have a lot of confidence, but also no complacency. Not just taking it for granted. Definitely clear up.
$35.
It was certainly an indifferent start from Ding
36.
to his semi-final. He barely played any significant part in the first 3 frames against Xu Se, but crucially he was able to get out of the session only 2 behind, having taken the last, and then very much took over in the final session. Much the better player. Got stronger as his opponent got weaker, and there's a sense of that happening again at the moment.
43.
passage of play from 4-1 to Chris is looking
44.
more and more important. It's possible it could turn out that that's as good as the day got for him. Even if he's thinking positive, still believes he can win.
49.
He just mightn't get the opportunities or the chances. More experienced
50.
man, more comfortable in these situations, more used to winning. He's getting stronger and also opening up a lead.
$57.
Played with confidence. The lead goes to 44. Only 59 left, so colour red, colour, and Wakelin will find himself in an even deeper predicament. But that has not worked out. That has gone wrong. Ding
63.
snookered on his intended red. 49 the lead, with 59 remaining.
Yeah, very unlike him. Talk about his close cue ball control. Actually had a massive margin of error there.
So a late twist in this 11th frame.
Junhui.
Is it going to be
63.
significant? Being the favourite, but not over the line. Ding only now needs a red and a colour, but he'll be mindful of the fact that there's nothing safe on the table, so there's definitely still jeopardy here for the home favourite.
Play that well, Ding. Was very aware of the fact that he easily clipped that red close to right corner and brought it into play. Yeah, nod the head there from Chris. Might be forced into taking this red on. Might feel the safety is as difficult as the pot on that basis. It's worth going for it.
Well, he was a long way off there. Where's this red going to end up? Covering the red that could have taken Ding to the frame by the looks of it.
Yeah, he seems to be eyeing up this shot to nothing. Puts a very high percentage of this kind of shot.
The crowd knew that was in long before
1.
It got to the pocket, not the ideal kiss for Ding, who still needs a colour. But another good pot nonetheless.
14比64。
So on the cusp.
半
His
波。
6th consecutive frame here.
Ding Junhui 1。
Bad shot there. Felt sure he was going to roll up, go close to the snooker, or maybe even play the brown down the table, a bit of insurance, but he didn't do anything.
Brilliant. Fantastic pot. Now then, are we about to see a significant turning point in this final? Because Ding has had chances to put this frame away. He could have bought himself some insurance just now, opted to play safe, and it wasn't safe. And suddenly, this is a great chance for Wakelin to win a frame he must have thought he'd lost.
8。
And in the process get himself back in contention.
Struck that well.
9。
Needs blacks to be able to win the frame by a point. Another situation, that first red, Chris might have just played safety, but he knew it was an error from Ding. It's worth a gamble to try and capitalise on it. It's a
16.
massive frame to win.
Would you believe it? Would you believe it? All week we've been talking about how receptive these corner pockets are, and of course the cloth replaced ahead of the sharp end of this tournament. But what a gift for Ding, who played a pretty ordinary safety just now and could have paid a heavy price. But is that the moment that Chris Wakelin's realistic chances of walking away with this title ended? We'll see. He's got a lot to do now.
10.
Ding would have rather won the frame in one visit. In a funny kind of way, the fact that Chris has had a chance and missed is better.
13.
More of a psychological blow for Chris.
Yes, he's had quite a few chances in the last few frames, Wakelin, and just hasn't been able to make the most of them. And that would have been a hurtful blow to strike. It would have certainly stung Ding Junhui to only be 6-5 in front. As it is, it's 6 on the bounce, and Wakelin now has a pretty seismic task on his hands.
28. Ding Junhui.
Ding doesn't bother with the black. A dramatic frame. It could have gone the other way, but once again it's gone Ding's way as he moves to within 3 at 7-4. Had Wakelin been able to steal it, not only does he break the momentum of Ding, but he gets himself back within 1 frame. Now he's 3 adrift, having lost 6 in a row.
Imperative, you feel, for Chris to win this frame, or certainly one of the next 2, but psychologically it can be difficult to think, well, even if I win these 2 frames, I'm still behind at the interval. And likewise for Ding, takes a little bit of pressure off. He knows even if he was to lose these same 2 frames, it's still of the lead.
The view from the balk ends. Yes, Ding hasn't been punished for his mistakes in recent times. That's the bottom line. He missed a red at the end of the frame before the conclusion of the first session, but Wakelin then missed himself, and then of course the chance to steal just now. does still have some room to manoeuvre. That's the key for Wakelin. It's still 3 more frames for Ding, so the winning line is still a way off, but Wakelin urgently needs something to restore a bit of confidence in his game, which may have started to dwindle. Six frames without winning one is a lot.
As far as I know, Chris is over in China this week by himself. I'm sure he rang home to friends and family at the interval, but kind of situation where nice to have somebody in your corner just to remind you of the positives, greater perspective. Very easy to get in at yourself and think it's not going to be your day. But he has got this first chance in this frame. Just has to dig in and believe he can turn it round. Shown great character throughout his career, and this week needs to dig deep again.
One.
Put together that superb 3-frame burst, 92, 85, 64 to lead 4-1. Ding only scored 18 points in those 3 frames. So something similar now required.
7.
I think he just slightly overran. Not sure the red that'd be straightest goes past the black into that corner. Yeah, that tells you then he's going to play the one above that. Got to glance off the other red. Not guaranteed to be in position. Yeah, that wasn't the mistake. It's from the blue. Just overran it. Ran the risk it could go wrong. The way things are going. Just adding all the time to his frustration. That's a great pot.
That had a sense of all or nothing about it. No. Terrific pot, knowing he was leaving reds.
Yeah, brave in the circumstance, you have to say.
19.
Deserves to have this red. Back now, prime position.
27.
Just needs to have control of the cue ball. Also control of his emotions. Forget the score. Forget what's happened. Just play one shot at a time.
$35. 36.
what a run it's been to get to this final. He beat 3 world champions back-to-back, Shaun Murphy, Mark Williams, John
43.
Higgins, making that cool 62 break in the decider when they were dragged off a frame early, had to come back
44.
after the evening session to finish up. And then, despite the nervy nature of the semi-final, losing that 8-5 lead, he was able to regroup again to win that decider with a 67 break. So he's shown, even though,
51.
like every player who's played before him, that he's susceptible to nerves, he's also proved that he can regroup when it really matters.
52.
But the first thing he's got to do this evening is get himself back in the hunt. And that starts with winning this frame.
You could hear a sigh from Chris there.
58.
Knows he should have a better angle on this. He felt he couldn't be tight on the cushion. Come further off. Still expect him to pot it. Forced it into the pocket.
59.
It looks like a natural angle. Play this black. Little drop candle onto the red if you want it. Looks like he's gone for those reds and balk instead. Just felt it was a greater margin for error. Bigger target.
66.
And just a red and a colour should do it. And he deserves a lot of credit for this break, not least the pink that he took on, which was eminently missable, knowing he was leaving plenty for Ding Junhui. But the crowd acknowledged frame ball, an absolutely must-win frame for Chris Wakelin, and it would appear he's done so.
'73.
Hey Sean, excellent
76.
resolve during this visit. Exactly what he needed. Be feeling a lot more comfortable now. '77.
He's made 4 centuries this week.
'82.
Again,
Chris Wakelin.
it always looked a little high. 82 will do, though. Chris Wakelin with a vital intervention to stop the 6-frame winning burst from Ding, who now leads 7-5. And 82 to get himself back in the picture at 7-5 behind, having lost 6 in a row. This is the final frame before the last interval. 10, of course, is the target for the title. Not the best break-off. Again, there's a red there for Ding, whose long game has been a bit mixed in this tournament. He's used pace at times, he's lost a bit of control. But he has potted some good ones as well. right in the middle, and the frustration for Wakelin, fresh from that really excellent 82, is that he's immediately given Ding an opening in the next frame.
Yeah, I've stressed it before, the importance of the break-off in this modern game. It's not a question of getting a good white, or a question of judging the contact on the end red, so you don't leave a red. However, it could be fortunate, Chris, that from that red, he might have only made 3, but something you'd want to try and stop as we're close to the winning line.
Ding Junhui, 3.
Yeah, that could have been a whole lot worse. Ding just not coming far enough for his intended red. Again, though, the safety not great. The 4-ball cannon on the yellow, the cue ball a long way from the intended baulk cushion. Hand on table just makes life so much easier when you're playing a safety.
Interesting shot selection there from Ding. With his hand on the table, choice of 2 reds to left corner. They would have required power. And certainly earlier on in his career, he would definitely have went for one of them and probably expected to get it. But again, just there's that slight deficiency from distance. So he's just managing his game, trying to have the percentages in his favour. Doesn't have to go for those reds. Good picture there of Ding pausing at the back so he get his eyes totally focused on the object ball before he delivered the cue. Yeah, will Chris be tempted by these reds? Didn't totally commit. Played it as a shot to nothing, really. Made the pot more difficult. But a good cue ball he felt was his priority.
This time, perfect strength on the cue ball from Ding, who's playing in his 24th ranking final. If he wins, he'll move up 1 space in the rankings, above Sean Murphy into the top 8. Dear, hit it full ball. That just shows how much harder it is when you're cueing from the cushion.
Yeah, from long range, Chris has been unsuccessful and missed by quite a distance as well, some of them. Not going to help his confidence.
Well, Wakelin to win the title this evening, he'd move up to 11th in the world. Not bad for someone who started last year in the low 40s before he won that shootout.
Again, apart from being number 11 in the world, the money he's going to win, plus bonuses, is fantastic. 175,000 plus money for being a seed in the UK, being in the Masters.
Probably the World Championship as well, pretty much banked, even though we're still only in November and the Crucible's in April. So yes, the rewards are limitless, really.
And also the series of events starting with the Grand Prix. So you probably add on the guts of another 100,000 to the 175 you'd get.
Most welcome, particularly when you consider he's going to become a father for the first time in the near future.
You need every penny of it.
He's just bought a new house with his partner Lucy. Life very good off the table at the moment for Wakelin, and I'm sure that's a big reason why it's been so good on it. He's in a good place. He's got a good team. He feels relaxed. He now feels as though he's got the environment that allows him to show just how good he can be. And he's got Ding in a bit of bother here behind the green.
Foul and a miss. Chris Wakelin.
Couldn't have got any closer, but didn't quite make it.
He won't be concerned about the 4 points. He's concerned if he's left that red for Chris. Obviously hasn't, he'd have played it by now.
Chris.
Very tense opening to this 13th frame. The significance of it not lost on either player. Wakelin will be delighted, having lost the first two on the resumption, if he can go into the interval as he started the evening, just one behind.
Yeah, it looks like the blue ball is blocking Ding from hitting those reds close to the black spot. That's why he's just coming down this end of the table. Probably going to play a dump shot. Thinking about it, where would he leave the white? He feels it's too risky. Might be forced to go for a very difficult long pot. Just try and find a shot what Chris can't pot when he comes to the table. Elected to roll up to them, but played it too hard, and as a result, he just pushed this red on. So Chris has got that reward for getting the white behind the blue.
Wakelin wins the safety battle. The Reds aren't great at the moment, but it's a chance to at least put a few together and see where it takes him.
One. Eight. Nine.
Couldn't avoid that red. Testing black. Now that he's got it, he's in a much better position.
16.
It just took time out there to see potting the black. Best way to disturb those reds, which red to hit.
17.
If he plays with pace and pushes through the gap, bound to be on something. Group of 6 reds there. It's the one second from the left. If you could cannon that, he'd push through, and even if he hit other balls, you feel sure he'd be on a choice of reds. So he wasn't prepared to take that risk. Try and pick off a few more reds, but there's no guarantee in a few minutes' time he'll be in a better position than what he was there. Looked a little bit tense at the start of the night, but certainly relaxing into the session, relaxing into the environment.
The previous frame was huge for Wakelin, and in particular the pink that he took on into the right centre, which was very missable under pressure, and he played it in such a way that he knew if he did miss, he was staring down the barrel of 8-4, and then his hopes are close to over. So if he can go on to win this frame now and get himself right back in contention going into the final interval, that pot on the pink will be one of the keys to it. In the meantime, building a useful little lead, taking his time. He knows how important this visit is, having won the safety battle.
Seven. 38.
With that pot now, great opportunity to win this frame. Yeah, great response from 7-4 down. Not playing his best.
44. 45.
Showing a lot of character and belief.
All the more so because he'd missed the red along the rail into the right corner as Ding watches on.
51.
In the previous frame when he had the chance to steal to make it just 6-5 behind.
52.
So to regroup in the way he did when he got the chance in the next, all the more impressive. And now he's running with that momentum that he's built.
$58. 59.
And this has been a very measured break from Wakelin. He's taken his time. Initially things weren't ideal, but he's kept it going, and now he's this pink and a red away from being within one again.
$65.
Really good.
66.
And we have a final on our hands going into the final act of this international championship title match.
Yeah, warm applause from the crowd. We've appreciated the last two breaks Chris has made. Again, for neutrals, it's exactly what we wanted. 7-6, probably a fear we had, and certainly Chris would have had. Ding could push on and go to 9-4. Just building up nicely all the time.
$74.
The test for Chris, of course, will be if and when he gets his
81.
chance to win his first ranking title, apart from the shootout, can he take it? But likewise, Ding hasn't won in a
82.
while, so he'll have his own challenges to overcome himself.
And at 7-4 behind, it was beginning to look as though Wakelin wouldn't get himself into a position where he could entertain thoughts of winning it, but he's put that right in the last 2 frames. Didn't want the cannon. His highest break
89.
of the final 92.
Place Wakelin
89, more than enough though. Chris Wakelin has responded superbly to losing the first 2 of the final session by winning the next 2, sharing that quartet of frames and staying in the hunt. It's all to play for then when they come back in 15 minutes. Ding is leading, but only by 1 at 7 frames to 6. Players hungry for their own reasons to lift that magnificent vase and walk away with the first prize of £175,000. Ding still 3 away, but Chris Wakelin has been able to apply the pressure by winning the last 2 before the interval.
Yeah, the biggest night of Chris's career. Now he's won the shootout. It's not the same as winning one of these big tournaments over a week. Not to do with his mindset. He needs to have the attitude. The pressure is a privilege. He's worked hard to be here. Enjoy every minute of it. And give it everything.
Winning that cue ball just to run on a little to cover the potting angle, which appears that he's done.
Seen Ding in the semi-final actually made a plaster underneath his chin, and actually also one on his left forefinger. Certainly the chin and the plaster is gone. I thought that was a byproduct. It might have been a little bit damp and humid as a result. The cue wasn't as smooth, sticking a little piece. Constant back and forth motion. You can sometimes get a little cut or graze. That's gone anyway. That's a great safety shot from Chris there. On that line behind the green. Leaving Ding one-sided. But it might be such a good safety. Ding could be forced into going for a pot.
It was a good safety that opened up the chance to make that 89 break in the previous frame. And indeed, an excellent safety acknowledged by John Higgins, which set up the 62 break to beat the 4 times world champion in the quarterfinals from Wakelin. It's such a key element of his game. And he's got Ding thinking again.
Yeah, coming down this end of the table to see if he plays a dump shot. Is there a spot he can leave the white that he won't leave a red? To left or particularly right corner. Chris has the initiative here. taking a second or two. What's the best shot to play to retain that initiative? This time trying to get in that line behind the yellow and on the cushion.
It just looks as though Wakelin is reinvigorated. He'll feel as though he's left a few frames out there today in this final, but the way in which he won the last two before the interval, I think it was a moment of truth for him, wasn't it, addressing that pink? He knew when he got down on it, this has got to go, otherwise this final slipping away, but he committed to it, he got it, he made the most of it.
Yeah, it was a good sign he went for it, and an even better sign that he got it. His whole demeanour has changed, and the whole dynamics of the match has changed. The atmosphere has changed. It's a lot quieter. Yeah, he was looking for a thin clip on that red.
Quiz, Wakelin, 5.
Just very fearful of catching this too thick, leaving the white down this end of the table.
It was worth the wait. Excellent connection from Ding, really good. And that's the icing on the cake for him. One of those rueful smiles that you'll see from a snooker player, which couldn't be less representative of their true feelings.
Yeah, and obviously Ding came off 2 cushions with a bit of side. When I went back down the table, that side helped him sneak in behind the yellow and block off. Again, same problem for Chris, not just hitting a red. He might be tempted to play 2 cushions and a glance himself, because if he tries to lie on a red, then this end could easily leave one. So in one shot, Ding managed to turn it round. The initiative. But even the fact that Chris acknowledged it there just shows that he's more comfortable. Generally this week he has been playing with a smile on his face. Even the introduction tonight, he looked a bit tense. It's totally understandable, such a big occasion, but the more relaxed he can be, it's to his advantage.
Yes, on the one hand, he's already achieved so much this week, and even if he does lose tonight, he's going to have a lot of positive things to reflect on. That was a bit of a sighter, I think. The old 2-cushion escape, a long way off. But of course, having got to the final and having got back into it this evening, it doesn't make his desire to go on to win it any less. The fact that he's in the top 16 and he's in the Players Series events and all of that. He's going back. Well, the tension of the significance of this final being broken at the moment, both players can share a joke, although it's no laughing matter for Wakelin here.
Yeah, as usual, erred on the thin side. Much better to give 4 points away, maybe 8, even 12. As you said, the first one was very much a sighter. Again, just good to see there Chris making sure he's not gaining any advantage. The white's put back exactly where it was.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy, so second attempt. Oh, it's a different shot. Or is it?
Yeah, this looks more difficult to judge. I'd certainly give the two cushion another go. Yeah, expect him to be closer. Certainly closer.
But on the
You
base.
feel with another go
Junhui.
or two, he would get it. A bit relieved. Didn't leave a free ball either. I think this is the shot to play.
He's not going to be overly concerned so early in the frame about the penalty points. It's about not leaving ding. So even if it takes him another 2 or 3 goes, as long as he gets the connection he's looking for, he'll take that. This is his third. Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, terrific pot. How's the kiss?
1.
Well, he's on the brown. And despite being in a tight spot just now, he's ultimately won the safety battle again. Positive signs these for Wakelin.
Looks to be straight in this brown, so toying with the idea of just rolling through. Being a red from mid-range. Oh, didn't want to settle for that. So gamble and trying to power the brown.
1.
An untimely intervention. I don't know whether it was a mobile phone or someone just
手机调静音
having a conversation just as Ding was about to strike the cue ball. Either way, wise for him to step away from the table and regroup. So, Ding, who sat out the previous 2 frames before the interval, now with a chance to reassert himself after Wakelin's miss Brown using pace for position.
Seven. 8.
Hardly what you would call great opportunities at this stage. Black tied up. Anything. Green being amongst them. Not doing him any favours either. Tried to play position, the pink to the left middle.
Something.
Very precise. Might be just having a look at that. Might be able to screw back, leave himself on the pink, and then potting that might be able to disturb that red closest. Feed the path for the pink into more pockets. Just get back fraction more than you wanted. Yeah, nicely played.
One.
A few more reds come into play, but still not out of the woods. You'd like to get on the pink if you can from there. You feel you could play a couple of stuns to those other reds. Try and stun on a red. You'd probably bring 1 or 2 others into play. Played that nicely. Again, with this angle, I think you might be able to just play a gentle screw down and play a little cannon on a red. Because it was thinner than first looked, elected to play for this red, and again played it beautifully.
33.
Plays those top spin shots better than anybody. Keeps the cue so parallel. Slowly but surely, he's created a good opportunity.
Wakelin took on the positive shot, really went for the brown, playing at pace to get position, but dropped his head as soon as he hit it. Crashed into the jaw, and this is the result. Ding gradually building what he hopes will be a frame-winning advantage.
40.
He's had mixed fortunes in international championship finals in the past. Ding, of course, he won the title in 2013 in a decider against Marco Fu. Three years later, he won just one frame
41.
in the title match against Mark Selby.
Yeah, one good positional shot should set him up to complete what's been an excellent break so far. But doesn't like to gamble, likes to know exactly where the balls will be. Just taking time out, clearing his mind exactly what shot he's going to play and at what pace. Not as straight on it as he'd like. It was worth the wait. Knew that was the key to winning the frame.
47.
And now you fully expect him to want to win this frame. Regained a 2-frame lead.
$48.
Might have been different had Wakelin potted that brown. It wasn't to be. Ding has taken these well though, and once again the attention to detail from him. You can see he's really keyed up to end this ranking title drought. Because he won the 6 Reds World Championship.
54.
But he hasn't won something really significant since that 3rd UK title in 2019. And if he can do it in front of his fans and raise the roof in the process, all the better.
$55.
You see him in this form. Can't believe it's been 5 years since he's won a ranking title. Probably can't believe it himself. And that will add a level of pressure. Even when he does get a chance to close out himself. He's slightly out of the winning habit. And for Chris, he'll
58.
just be anxious to try and keep Ding on 8 frames for as long as possible.
The crowd have found their voice again. They were a little more subdued during the 2 frames Wakelin won, albeit very respectful of the excellence of his snooker, but this frame is most certainly Ding's now.
66. $67.
His highest break, an 80 in the first session. And Wakelin is going to have to come again. He had the chance,
74.
missed the brown.
75.
And Ding, with a superbly crafted break, has taken advantage.
$82.
Going for his 7th century. He's going to need a good cannon on that final red. that's a good cannon.
Lighting.
Still need the brown to make the century, but it doesn't really matter. It's been an excellent break.
93.
Said right from the start how challenging the positions of the balls were.
95.
It's well up to the challenge. Great example of cue ball control, patience.
Oh,
Bit of skill as well thrown in.
what a tremendous break this has been, and let's hope he can now pot the brown, raise the decibel level even higher. Oh, what a shame, but what a break, and what a moment to produce it, to take him ever closer to his second international championship title. 98 for Ding. He's 2 away at 8 frames to 6. Stay in touch. Can he keep the pressure on Ding Junhui after that superb 98 just now from the home favourite? .92 centuries at the venue this year, which, believe it or not, is 20 less than we had in Tianjin last year, when Zhang Anda, of course, won the title at the expense of Tom Ford and made a maximum break in the final in the process. Zhang, one of many who have been inspired by the achievements of this man. The state of Chinese snooker in the rudest of health right now. So many young talents emerging, looking like tournament winners, and some of the old hand also producing late in the day, like Zhang, like Zhao Guodong. And they'd all be the first to admit that they owe plenty to this guy and the way in which he put snooker on the map in this country, and is still, of course, the #1 in China. Nice pot from Wakelin.
1.
That was the red Chris had brought up from the break off unintentionally. Actually caused Ding a bit of a problem. Tried to find the gap, but caught the brown. I would like the white to be a little further down the table. From point blank range, would like to put that red above the black, because with the angle and potting it, you'd free the black and the other red. So go up for the blue, try and create a better opportunity.
Six.
Yeah, just coming down to see actually this pink going behind the pack could actually work out perfect. Raising this red, potting it. We'll leave this out more or less parallel on the pink.
12.
Potting the pink, you can't help but bring all the other reds into play. Gotta pot the red though.
Please, Wakelin. 12.
That was a surprise. One of the many examples today of Wakelin getting in first, but not making full capital of the opportunity. Now, does this red pass? Crowd enjoyed that one. And this could really open the frame up. Oh, but he's overcut it. He's overcut it. He's opened the reds all right. So, Ding this time doesn't punish. And Wakelin gets another shot at it.
Yeah, it was just a fraction thinner on the pink than would have liked. Still expect him to get it. Chris will be relieved to be back at the table so soon.
One. Six. Seven.
Couldn't have gone much worse, really. Lost the cue ball. And the look on Wakelin's face tells the story.
13.
Horribly hampered by the red that he's close to touching. Tricky enough as it is without stretch.
Yeah, he's tall, but still a stretch. You can see his foot barely touching the ground. This seems a bit more appealing. But maybe that other red he was going to go for is just slightly hampering his bridge hand. Just trying to resettle and get comfortable.
Big shot this. He was up very quickly.
Chris, Wakelin.
Well,
13.
it could have been worse. Inevitably, with each passing frame, the nerves, the tension become greater. But he didn't leave the red, crucially.
Ding made a point of getting cue ball as close as possible to that cushion. Making it hard for Chris to play the red down the table and go back to balk. He was leading Ding. They shot to nothing, just hoping he misses. Ding missed, shot to nothing. Chris got it. Like there's going to be a colour to follow, but play a telling safety and maybe get colour safe as well. A little bit of insurance. Only 25 ahead, but you can see how awkward the balls are.
Please, Wakelin, 1.
Played that well. Not sure if Ding has potting angle on this red. Plays shot to nothing. If he does, even those 3 reds on the side cushion would block the path. Now looking, just coming off that side cushion, nestled into the reds.
There haven't been too many scrappy frames in this final. It's been played at a decent pace. This is one of those frames where the balls are a bit awkward and he's going to take some winning. With that in mind, the 25-point lead is a pretty handy one for Wakelin at the moment.
We've seen earlier in the frame, the camera angle, that pink and red are plant. He's just looking at, can he play off the red? Make it, you can see it there. Yeah, nicely played. I'm happy enough where the blacks finished. Yeah, full-blooded on that plant. relying on a little bit of luck, which he got. Then a little mini control game. Chris had the initiative, and ultimately he's won it. Can he want to win the main game, the frame?
Looking to promote reds, but it's not gone to plan.
8.
It wouldn't be an impossible task for Wakelin if he loses this frame, but it would be extremely difficult. It would leave him with no room to manoeuvre, having to win 4 in a row. Even so, at the moment, he's in control of the frame with that 33-point lead, which doesn't sound a lot, but when you consider that 5 reds close to the side cushion, it's going to take something pretty special from Ding, if he does get in, to make something sizable. Now into its 18th minute, this frame. Yes, it looked bound for the pocket from a long way out, that one.
It's a nice shot Ding played. Caught it perfect. Bringing the red back down. Kind of regained the initiative.
No, undercut it. It was a chance to get himself back in the frame, at least. And now the chance falls to Wakelin to further increase an already useful lead, given the state of the table.
8. Nine.
Just that well. Still a little bit of work for Chris to do. After this black right beside it waiting. By the head, so it still needs 2 reds, 2 colours.
$17. $24.
From the previous red. Should have given himself a better angle on the black. Would have been able to play off it. The reds close to the left cushion. But still 53 ahead. Strong favourite. In control. Chance to play another good safety. That's safe enough in there. Now well spotted.
25.
To take him 54 in front with 59 left.
Yeah, played it as a shot to nothing. Thought he'd have some sort of a shot on the black. Again, it's another red gone. Now 54 ahead.
Purple.
Tapping into his inner Mark Selby, tying the frame up.
25.
Black out of commission. Very big lead and a long way back in this one for Ding. Not a frame that will live long in the memory for its quality or aesthetics, but what a vital one for Wakelin. If he wins it, he's right back in the mix again, keeping the pressure on the home favourite. Little double kiss. Well, Ding's got a bit of room to manoeuvre here. 54 the deficit with 59 left. Got to pot the red first, though. And if Wakelin can drop this in, it should be 8-7. Hit it pretty hard. Didn't get close, really.
Didn't cue that well. You could see the cue came right across it. Played it more pace, did make it more difficult. Again, he just needed the red. Thought he might just roll it in and pot it and more or less put the frame to bed.
One.
well played. Judge that.
Seven. Eight.
If you can take pinks with these last reds. You'd be 26 behind, 27 left. You'd have to just continue putting these back far from ideal, of course, but you'd love to just get it that far.
14.
Yeah, just taking time out to have a think.
19.
Is it worth playing the blue? Pink then to tie. I think he's unsure if he rolls the red in, even slowly. Can he still hold for the pink? Just going away from the pink, you can see there.
Maybe a few uncomfortable moments in the offing for Wakelin. He really should have made sure just now.
Ding actually has an option here, playing the blue. Not only could he get a snooker with the red behind, close to the yellow, he may be able to put the black into play if he wanted. Here's the angle. Guaranteed a snooker.
20.
Maybe just come a little bit too far. Love to bring the black into play.
Junhui 20.
The angle wasn't there to bring the black into play, but he'll settle for that. Right back in the frame.
Somewhat self-inflicted predicament this for Wakelin. Seemed to hit the red excessively hard. It was frame ball with the rest. He didn't get close, and now under pressure. This would be a very hurtful frame to lose, and would put him in the mire at 3 down with 4 to play.
On the miss. Junhui 4.
You can see by Chris's reaction as it came off the last cushion. He just feared it might just spread. Missing on the inside. This is difficult to hit. Has to risk getting closer to hitting the black to make contact on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, well judged. A nice shot.
59比29.
Has left this red.
It's been a lengthy frame. It's been very tense. Ding was a distant second favourite 10 minutes ago.
Five. Ding Junhui, 5.
He's up off a quick. I think he hit it a little bit harder than what he wanted. With a different contact, he maybe could have pushed the yellow over the pocket, but played it well.
Now into its 27th minute. Chris Wakelin will know he should have won this frame already. A double kiss certainly wasn't part of the plan with that one. Wakelin, of course, pushed the black close to the side cushion earlier in the piece for the insurance that he may now need.
Bonus, leaving Ding hampered, but nice shot. Felt sure he'd get cover with either green or brown.
Well, that's not helped Ding's cause, pushing the brown close to the black. Good news for Wakelin, who wants this frame over and done with. And that means that Ding Junhui needs a snooker. It's been a real slog, this frame, but Wakelin's always been in control of it. That control was loosened when he missed frame ball red just now.
Just thinking this through, he's a little bit fearful if he does miss the green and leaves Ding on, could he walk into a snooker? But just think positive, just put in that pocket. Oh, well played. And again,
5.
played well in this frame, Chris. In a frame he had to win.
2 snookers to tie. So eventually Wakelin gets the job done. It was a vital frame for him to win. 3 down with 4 to play would have been a tall order indeed. As it is, he's just 1 behind again. It's 3-all on the night. and still all to play for.
Wakelin.
Chris Wakelin clears to the pink to subdued applause. Ding Junhui tried his best to fight his way back into that one. It wasn't to be. And so his lead once again shaved to a single frame. He still needs 2. Wakelin now needs 3. Ding leads by 8 frames to 7. Try as he might, Ding Junhui cannot shake off the attentions of Chris Wakelin. 8-7 up. Still 2 away from his first ranking title in 5 years.
Didn't quite get to see the angle that Chris can see, but he's in trouble. Well thought out, well played.
The touching ball. So Ding, of course, can play away, having deemed to have hit a red already. Going to need the spider, I think. Maybe the extended spider. Just gives him that extra elevation over that cluster of reds. Yeah, he didn't intend on catching the red on the way back up, hence the shake of the head, and as a result of that, the cue ball's only reached the baulk line, hitting the brown. And this is a chance for Wakelin. A chance he certainly shouldn't have had. A let off for Ding, who now gets the chance himself.
One.
Just run on a fraction. Not only does it make this pot on the green more difficult, harder to control the white. Control the white very well. The crowd were anxious as the green made its way to the pocket.
Five.
battled well in the last frame, Ding, but
12.
much prefers this kind of frame. It's natural habitat
30.
around the black.
Ironically, as is so often the case in this sport, coming from an error, really, a poor safety when he had a free ball to play away. Yes, he was using the extended spider, but he caught a red, hit the brown, and left Wakelin with a very potable long red, but he couldn't make it.
20.
Now Ding gets this chance.
$21.
Played it perfectly. With the exact contact on the pink. Not only
26.
did he open the reds, but he kept the cue ball in the middle of the table. Again, even with the pressure and the
27.
circumstances, you'd fully expect Ding to win the frame in this visit. As an opponent playing Ding, when he's in amongst them, he just gives you no
34.
sense of hope. His cue ball control is so good. It seems every shot he has is really easy.
$35.
Having said that, I think he's just off straight. Natural angle would bring him making contact with the red, close to the right corner. Might have to settle for just playing that red below the black. Was obviously reluctant to play that red along the black cushion. Played a far more difficult shot. That could have went wrong.
It's been very
42.
noticeable that Ding has been prepared to take his time going about these breaks.
$43. $48. 49.
Ding's
56.
seventh half-century of the final, as Chris Wakelin no doubt ponders what might have been had he knocked in that long red.
$57.
This black, one more red and a colour should suffice for Ding.
$64.
Just looking to drop this in for the black, which will be frame ball.
$65.
To put him within one of the title. Right in the middle, another expertly engineered break from Ding Junhui to the delight of his fans.
72.
Wakelin needs two snookers.
Junhui, 72.
An excellent visit from Ding, and barring a couple of snookers, he's going to be 2 up with 3 to play.
One. 请大家保持安静，谢谢。
Didn't really help Wakelin's cause seeing that red go in. $67 the deficit now, 59 left, so 2 snookers to tie.
5.
And that surely had to go. That must be under frame.
Correct.
Wakelin concedes, having checked with Ding. And so, as you can tell by that thunderous roar, the home favourite is now on the cusp here in Nanjing. Ding leads 9-7. He's got to win the remaining 3 frames to deny Ding and become the champion here at the International Championship. Bringing a red up off the break, not what he had in mind. He's got a good cue ball.
Yeah, don't think he's covered it this time. But, well, looks very thin there. But also in potting it, can he avoid the pack? very thin. I'm not sure he has the putting angle. Oh, beautiful shot.
What a result.
He had the putting angle. That extra time he took on the shot just to work out. Yeah. Chris nodding the head. He knows that was a class shot. Little drop cannon off the side of the pack.
Well, this is very much Ding's territory, as we saw in the previous frame. His first chance to take this title out.
It seems like we spent the day waiting for somebody to get to 9. Let's see when they got a chance. Could they take it to win? Ding's done it 14 times before, but it is 5 years since he's won a ranking event. He'll be feeling it.
16.
Plenty of near misses in between, not least at the UK Championship 2 years running. Of course, he was 6-1 up to Mark Allen 2 years ago. Groans from the crowd, fearful that Ding had not landed on the black here.
Yeah, maybe a little bit fortunate. He can't get the middle, he can still play a little bit of left-hand side, which is going to help playing this shot.
Well, the crowd was celebrating the pot, but it was high.
17.
And so Chris Wakelin breathes again. This time Ding can't make the break he was looking for.
大家保持安静，谢谢。
Of course, he's covered the pocket, which may have implications for this frame.
Chris would be mighty relieved if that black had went in. It was going to be a glorious chance for Ding, but as it is, he'll take encouragement from the fact that Ding had the chance and only made 17. Earlier on in the match in the scenario, he's been making a big break.
Foul.
Further trouble for Ding. It certainly opened the frame up, and things could have become congested around that black had it stayed on the table for too long, but
Collect.
not to be. That little cannon off the other red, inadvertently planting the black in and leaving an easy starter for Wakelin.
One.
Ball's really nicely placed here.
8.
Two reds, both sides of the cluster. They're going to the opposite corner.
9. $16. $17.
Yeah, you can see where he's putting the tip of his cue. That's the contact he liked to make on that red. Called a little bit thinner than he would have liked. As a result, mightn't be on the red at all. Needs a thicker contact.
24.
We brought that red into play with the option of the red to left corner, but
Misframe ball with the rest in the previous frame. Ultimately, it didn't cost him.
Grace, Wakelin, 24.
So Wakelin's lead just 14 points. Both players having had chances in this frame.
looking at the plant. See where exactly does he need to hit on the first red to make perfect contact with the second red. It looks like I'm playing it, hitting that red thick to make it. He'll be disturbing the other reds. I feel if he goes for this plant, he's got to get it.
Well, how has that dropped? The crowd delighted, but that looked for all the world as though it was wide. It never looked in until the moment that it disappeared.
I was about to say, why did he play it so slowly?
Big moment. It could be the key moment.
Yeah, Chris, of course, from his chair, probably doesn't know how it went. But at first contact, it looked like it hit the left jaw as we've seen it, but the end result is it's a super chance for Ding.
Be worth seeing that again. I'm not sure if we will, but from this angle, it never looked in, did it?
No, didn't want it to go in, really, watching it.
So Ding gets a second opportunity to win this title.
Nine.
You feel it's only the significance of the situation that can stop Ding.
16.
Plenty of choices.
17.
Play for different areas, leave himself choices of reds. Just kind of keep close control, not only the cue ball, but his emotions. but it's as good a chance as you could
24.
possibly hope for.
"18 years of age when he won his debut ranking title, beating Stephen Hendry for the China Open. 19 years on the cusp of winning his 15th. And it's been a long time coming. And even for all of his wealth of experience and success down the years, 3 times UK champion, Masters champion, world finalist, as Chris Wakelin wonders
32.
if his chance has gone. He'll still be feeling some butterflies right now. Just a few pots from
32.
sealing the deal.
Just enough of an angle. It's done over for potentially 3 reds. It's so much easier, even under this pressure. Keep it practically beside the reds. Making every putt as simple as you can.
40.
The lead goes to 27, 51 left. He's going to need 2 more reds.
$48.
The trickier one, close to the black, won't be required.
$49.
Chris Wakelin has had a transformative week, just as he did when he won the shootout. He's taken his career to the next level with some wonderful victories, including the scalps of 3 world champions. But Ding is now 1 pot away,
56.
albeit not an easy one, from landing the trophy. This is the moment. It's there.
$57.
2 snookers to tie. This to make sure. There's no doubt now. There is the clench of the fist from Ding Junhui. He's waited a long time for this. Too long for a player of his class. The red surely doesn't matter. Chris Wakelin is going to come back, but he's 50 behind with only 35 left. He needs 4 snookers.
Can't blame him for trying here, Chris. It's worth giving it a little bit of a punt for a minute or 2.
Chris Wakelin clinging to the hope of a free ball.
Like the last escape, didn't give it his full attention. Doesn't want to start giving Chris any sort of encouragement. Good hit.
It's going to make him sweat for a bit longer. Four snookers required as things stand for Chris Wakelin. Plenty of balls to snooker behind, but when you need four, you're going to have to lay probably a couple of dozen at least to have any chance of getting them. Oh, there's a result. Chris Wakelin offers his hand. The 5-year wait is over. Ding Junhui proves he's still a champion in front of his adoring fans. Snooker's Chinese icon lands the coveted international championship for a second time. He has beaten Chris Wakelin by 10 frames to 7. Ding back in the winner's circle.